This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
The other day, we were playing around with camera and lens combos at home, as you do, and we decided to put our 90mm Leica lens on our Fuji X-T4. And the photos looked cool, and we were like, oh, this is the kind of cool setup. But it was just very unbalanced because the lens is obviously like quite long and the body of the X-T4 is small. So we left it for a few days, and then in the evening, we were on YouTube watching photography things, as you also do, I'm sure, like you are right now. And we found a video of this guy called Andre. I'll link the video below. And he had plugged in a Leica Like film recipe, like a simulation. And he used his X-T4 and he was taking photos and showing like the results. And I was super intrigued. I was like, these look really cool. And then we thought, well, why not try our Leica lens on our Fuji X-T4 and see if using Leica glass with the Leica film recipe will get like a true Leica look. I am not very experienced in this realm. I don't shoot digital all that often, and I've never actually shot a Leica before. So I thought it would be fun to walk around, take some photos, try out this film recipe, this lens, this camera combo, and then you guys can be the judge and let me know in the comments below what you think of the results. I'm using a 90mm lens, which is pretty cropped. I do love a tight crop, so I'm not too worried about it. But I know it will be challenging because in the past when I've used it, I've had to move around a little bit because I'm like, oh wow, that's really cropped. And then on a crop sensor, it's like a 135mm, so like even more. So like this scene here, for example, that I quite like, I don't even need to cross the road. I can just do it from over here, which is kind of good, but then the cars are going past, so that's kind of annoying, but we'll give it a go. I love to, you know, get out of my comfort zone. So I've got focus peaking too. I don't shoot digital like all that much, so this is kind of a lot of different things for me. When we do YouTube videos, normally we shoot film and it makes the process a lot longer and harder because we have to send the film away, we edit the video, and then we have to wait for the photos. And then we always worry that, you know, what if the roll doesn't come out? Then like the video was a waste of time. So it's like the most inefficient way to make YouTube videos. But like, obviously I love film. This looks kind of nice. Oh, so cropped. So cropped. Might come from down here actually. I think that looks good. It's a bit warmer today. I've got some shorts on, getting some sun on my legs after this long winter. Yeah, for shots like this of the building, it's really, really good because it's so cropped in, and often I do just want like a part of the building and then the sky. So really, really easy to compose for like architecture type photography. And this area is really good. We were actually here yesterday and we were like, let's come back here and film the video because there's a lot of good like old holiday like buildings and apartments and stuff along the beachfront. So kind of like. Might go down a little bit because it's pretty shady here. Might go down to 6. Just gonna like make sure I'm in focus, yeah. It's really, I find it really hard with the focus peaking. I used this like maybe like a year ago or more on the channel. I think it was like during COVID, and yeah, I said it's like Predator vibes with this focus peaking. It's just like I'm not used to that, but yeah, I'm getting more used to it as I go. And it's really nice using the X-T4 because normally we film with this camera. This is like our main camera. We use everything for this, like work and YouTube. So we rarely get to take photos with it. So today we're filming on the Sony ZV Mark II, ZV-1 Mark II, ZV-1 Mark II, which is so great and has been such a game changer for like on the go stuff. But yeah, the X-T4 just gives that like something special when we film with it. So we do like to use it. But yeah, it's really fun to use it today for photos because I see such great examples from like a bunch of people who use this camera and we just don't get to use it for stills. So this is a great little excuse. Might take this. It's maybe a little bit brighter. I find this focal nearly fell over. I find this focal length is really good for like this photo here. Normally, you know, if I had a 40 mil or a 50 mil or something like that I would normally use, I'd just be like, I can't get that really tight crop of like just the like breeze blocks and then like the little pipe. And I held this up and it was literally exactly how I see it in my mind straight away. So 90 mil for me really is like how I see, and it's really good for that minimalist, clean kind of aesthetic. I think it's really perfect for that, but it can be hard for other things. If you live somewhere where maybe you're not really wanting to capture kind of everything, like you're not living in this really cool place where everything looks really cool, 90 mil is good because you can just hone in on small things like that, or like this wire on this tree behind me that I think looks really cool. And then just block everything else out. So, you know, you don't have to worry about adding in like new cars or people. If you don't want people, it's just really easy to hone in on those like small things. I also think that digital is really good for practicing your compositions too, because you can take like 2 or 3 compositions in the same setting and then see like what you like, or like give something a go and then find out that like, oh, when I like bend down like this and I'm like this, I really like the way things look. Or it's like a weird perspective that I hadn't thought about. Whereas when you shoot film, sometimes I think you do result to like the safer kind of option because, you know, A, you know, it's expensive, and like B, you've got like a finite amount of images. My hot tip. This looks kind of cool how like some of the apartments are boarded up here. The light's kind of not that great. Like I wish the sun was on it, but I'll give it a go anyway. Cool. Change. Oh, I got such a good shot of that blue car. It's like really abstract. I think you can get really abstract with this focal length, you know? Can't help myself. See some good red up ahead. I think they're like portaloos or something. So there's some red over here, and when we watched the video that this was inspired by, the reds looked really good. So like with the Leica film simulation. So kind of look like portrait, but with like more punch, because that's my issue with portrait. It's a bit sort of meh. But yeah, the reds looked really saturated, and this guy had sought out a lot of red in his photos, and his photos were awesome. So it made me really excited to use this film simulation. So I've got the X-T4 set up just on auto ISO, auto shutter speed, keeping it above like 200. And then obviously manually focusing with focus peaking. And then f-stop, I'm kind of like f11 in the sun, or sorry, f8 in the sun, and then f5.6 if I'm in shade, and that seems to be working really well. It's not the most lightweight combo for sure, like this Leica lens is really heavy, but it's a lot better balanced like this than it was on the XE1. As you can see, this lens is quite long. XE1 body is pretty small, so it just wasn't very well balanced. But yeah, it's a cool combo, but it's not something maybe I would kind of opt for carrying around all the time. It's a bit too cropped. I'd have to go, maybe if I'm down here. No, it's too cropped. Yeah, the focus throw, did you say? Yeah. Is like really long. It's like so, I'm like, oh, like trying to get around again. Yeah, it's kind of annoying if you want to catch like a moment or like kind of, you know, like when you go around once and you're holding it, like I've got my composition and then I'm like focusing, but then I've got to focus again. I lose my composition. Do you know what I mean? Like I lose my spot. You have to like recompose. It's kind of annoying. See, like when I'm shooting digital, I'm like, oh, I'll just take a photo of these people. Take a photo of anything. Speaking of the photos, if you want to see the photos not just like for 2 seconds on a screen on YouTube, you can head over to my website, lucylumen.com, and I have added a blog page on my Squarespace site. So all the photos are there, and then there's like just some more information on the photos, and you can spend some more time with them, have a look at them, really have a look at the film sim. And I'll also link the video that we watched over there too. And all of that is on my Squarespace website, which I built myself in minutes, and they are sponsoring today's video.
Building a website has been paramount to my success as an artist and photographer. Finding your place online can be tricky these days, but with easy templates built specifically for photographers, you can have your portfolio and projects in customizable galleries displayed in minutes using Squarespace. It's super easy to organize all your content with the new asset library, enabling you to manage all your files from one central hub and use them across the Squarespace platform. This makes updating and refreshing my site myself really quick, which I love. I recently set up an online store to sell my presets, guides, and even offer free downloads to the community, and it's literally drag and drop to get it all up and running. Whether you sell physical prints of your work or you want to start offering workshops or sessions, Squarespace has the tools you need to start selling online. We all know how limiting and frustrating social media can be, so why not take the power back and curate your own online presence and corner of the internet with your very own Squarespace site? Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/LucyLumen to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain, or use the code LucyLumen at checkout. Links are in the description to get started today. Thanks for sponsoring this video, Squarespace.
So funny, these like cars, like I really like the boxy kind of shaped cars, but that was my first car, like that I had was a Toyota Corona. It's like a boxy, just, you know, car. And now I see like people who've like just passed their driving test and they're like 17 and they're driving those cars like, because they're like, oh, they're cool and vintage. And I'm like, oh, I'm getting old because that was my first car. Like, you know, like I feel like you turn 30 and like you start realizing like, oh, things I remember, like young kids don't remember them. So I'm getting old. It's so hard being a YouTuber. So it's the best. It's like the best job ever. It's like part of my job. It's a small part of my job. Well, it looks kind of, I'll take a couple. It looks good here with the okay, taken a couple. Yeah, I feel like it would probably look better on film. It's kind of a cool shot. Just steal your shot. When there's like two things like that in a frame, like where you've got something in the foreground and then something behind, like the palms and the building, I'm always like, what do I focus on? Should I focus on the palm? Should I focus on the building? It's like an interesting selection of traffic cones here. Might even do, no, I'll do, yeah, maybe from over here, because then I'm not getting like the shadow. Just trying to also not get run over. It's not really working. It's all right. It's not, I think it's done. Like it's not really, you know. So the story behind this lens is we were looking on Marketplace and we went to this guy's house and he was reselling like a bunch of cameras. I don't think he was like necessarily super into cameras. He was just kind of like selling them, trying to like make a buck. And there was a Canon EOS 650, which isn't like anything spectacular. And this Leica lens was on that camera. And I don't think that he realized, because it doesn't say Leica, it says Lights Wetzlar. So we bought the camera, the Canon EOS 650, and then we got the lens, which is like amazing. It was definitely one of our like best pickups for sure in our Marketplace finds. It was $100 Australian, so like nothing. Like you would never be able to buy like a real Leica lens for $100. That's crazy. So yeah, it feels really cool to have this. We do have a Leica R4S that I got for Lux for his birthday, but it has a few problems, I think, and that's just like an SLR. Obviously, it's not a rangefinder, but yeah, maybe one day in our future you'll see us with a Leica. But it's really cool to own this, and it's very, very, very sharp. Like whenever I've shot it, I'm like, wow, it's almost like too sharp. So you guys are seeing the results. So we've got the Fuji X-T4, so Fuji camera, Leica lens, and then a Leica film recipe. So what do you think? Is it giving the Leica look? Do you think that we can get the Leica look with a Fuji camera and the film sim? Hot tip, always make sure that you check the camera body to see what lens is on it, because someone might not know. That's always something we do now. Probably never happen to us again though. And then also another tip is if it's got this little red dot on the lens, then it's Leica, red dot.